Asha,
Hi.
hi. Oh, I'm feeling the journey that we're on, and I'm so grateful that you agreed to share from the path traveled. How did this path find you, and what called you on this path with us?
Such a beautiful question because I remember the moment that we spoke, and I was just feeling like my visibility, my expansion, my growth was going to really be taking off over the next couple of years, but I felt kind of terrified. So I remember saying like, I just think I need some support. I need to feel safe to be
Mm,
seen, safe to put myself out there in bigger ways, because that always felt a little bit scary for me. What might come at me
mm.
as I
Yeah,
grow and as I expose myself. That's what it felt like, an
yeah,
exposed somehow.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened. Is I spoke that to you, and I said I just feel like I need some support, and my nervous system needs some
Mm,
support. And that was really my intention at the beginning, was just to get to support for visibility, expansion, abundance, all of the things that I've been dreaming
mm.
sort of into being at that point.
I love your specification at that point. And that is so important because there's a point of answering that call. Okay, I could use this and clarity about that. And thank you, wisdom, for guiding us and showing us that point. And then my sense is that more opens up on this journey. So I would love to hear from you. What has been your experience, first of all, with you know, did you get that support? Did you get what you were looking for? And if something else opened up for you on this journey that you didn't even know to want or desire or to need.
Yes. I can say there's so many facets of doing this work with you. There's so many facets of even unseen that I can feel
Mm,
that, from my spiritual connection to my practice to things that are happening in that world of trust. Like I feel like I trust life a lot more than I used to be able to. And then from an actual, like tangible standpoint, um, things happened that were magical this year. So I was just on the precipice of getting a book deal, and then I got that deal, and then I felt secure enough in myself to really dream big. And my biggest dream was to create an oracle deck, like a spiritual oracle deck. I've had this dream for 20 years. And I
ooh,
felt like, yeah, I felt like I could do both. Like I felt like I could do the book and I could expand into my big dream
mm,
of having this card deck in the world. And then it came true during our time together. So this dream came true, and I feel like it's really the vision I had 20 years ago is coming through during our time together, which feels really potent
mm,
and really powerful. And opportunities are coming my way that I never dreamed were possible, I guess, or didn't even think about. Just some requests to show up sort of in ways online and being paid for them, and all of these great things happening that feel really really aligned with my purpose, and also I feel like I can finally receive them.
ooh, chills. Yes, yes. Desires are one thing, magic is another aspect, and then receiving
Mhm.
is yet another. And I'm looking at these beautiful hoops behind you, the dream catchers, and they just, this is how I experience them, as these beautiful, like circular dancing, different aspects of desiring and the magic that brings out desires to us, and the receivership.
Mhm.
And obviously, we can take no credit whatsoever for who you are, your brilliance, your gifts in the world. You have come and join us on this journey, being who you are, or as a whole being on your spiritual mission. What would you say was helpful to you in that you received in the container on the journey, from the community, from the tools that supported you in being who you
Mhm.
are in your expression in the world?
Mhm. I would say The practices for me are very vital. That
Mm.
tends to be how I kind of act in the world, though I like doing those sort of types of things, and I like having something daily. It is like a ceremony. It's my ceremony now to do the
Yeah.
practices that are offered during this time together. It really
Mm.
comes forward for me, and I feel like it's expanding my toolbox that I already had. I've done a lot of trainings with a lot of
Mm.
different people over the last 25 years, but this sort of just, it's almost like it was a gathering together of using all that I knew and then just like adding this potent expansion to it. So for me, it's really the tools that I'm learning in this time together with you, and the practice, and the encouragement to practice, I think, in that group container, finding different people who are practicing with me and who
Mm.
sort of desire not the same things, but desire in similar ways. All of those things are really, really help me. It's like this community of dreamers and visionaries, and also they're walking it in the world, and that feels really powerful.
Mm. Oh, that gives me chills because truly, and thank you for seeing and feeling and being a part of this community of dreamers and visionaries. That's how I feel about our community too, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. Um, I actually relate to all of our thrivers as those who used to be my imaginary friends for years, and finally I get to meet them in person. Those super cool, amazing women deep divers. As I in my life, I've always felt like an oddball, like an outsider, like I wasn't fitting in the mold, and and I've been craving these deeper connections. I just didn't know that was possible. Just
Mm.
didn't know that, like those women, I would actually be lucky enough to play with those women like you and our thrivers. Just feeling so blessed.
Me too. And being part of that community, I think, has really, it's shown me too that, yeah, we aren't alone. We aren't alone in desiring these things as women. We aren't alone in that sort of, okay, like, am I ready to receive this? And then opening up to see, like, I
Mm.
love seeing all of the success stories, and all of, whenever we celebrate, it always just brings me like tears and joy that this is happening
Mm.
for others too in that community. So I also love the celebrations, and that we are asked to celebrate each other,
Mm.
because that is something that we all need.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's one of those things that we didn't even know, most of us, to want, or that we were missing somehow. And so it's delightful to have that experience. And like, yeah, that's actually vital and necessary to be celebrated and celebrate each other. Would love to hear about your experience with this. Now these three circles, right, are just so present with me, and maybe there is more than three: desire and that manifestation, that magic, that support, and receivership. I'm so curious to hear about your experience of how you've been dancing with those on this healing journey with us, expanding into each of the three.
Hmm. I think it sort of does go into cycles for me. I think I do live
Mm.
in a, as an Indigenous person, I live in that cycle circle energy, right? So I think that,
Yeah.
like, I feel myself when I have sort of something that I have to move through, and it's sort of like I'm going through like a low point, then I remember, oh, I have these incredible tools, and I know that I need to do a little bit more of that deeper dive work and that inner work, which I love doing.
Mm.
But then I always see that after I do that work and commit to it, I always see on the other end that manifestation and magic, and trust that there's magic happening in the background as well, while I'm feeling kind of in that shadowy place or a little bit
Mm.
lower. You call it the low tide. And so I know that there is magic happening in the background during that
Mm.
time, but there's always something on the other end that just sort of, that magic, it really is. This year has been full of magical blessing. So that always seems to happen. And then I'm working every day on receiving, because it's one of the pieces that I have not always felt like I can do that safely. So I think that
Yeah.
that is the receptivity piece, is the part that I'm always trying to expand in greater ways and build safety around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for speaking to this um, as the deep journey and seeker that you are and you have been. Whew. It's so vital for us to have support during low tide, and that hope, that knowing that magic is happening, and there are tools, and there is safety in going through that, and then expansion into magic, and there is safety in that, safety in the receivership. And that's so deep for women. Probably all three take us to that next level of reclamation, as women were not allowed the space to deeply desire or to deeply fully participate with their own magic in the world and with the world around us as who we fully are. And receivership, there hasn't been a whole lot to receive for women. That's a new game.
Yeah, there's so many. It's almost like opening my eyes to all the treasures too. Like they become, many things become treasures. And then it's almost like
Mm,
some before I might have skipped over those pieces that were coming that were beautiful in my life that I thought, okay, now on to the next, on to the next. But now I'm really mindful of honoring, celebrating, integrating all of the beautiful things that are happening.
mm,
Because that feeling of like, not enough, like I have to keep going, was always running in the background. And now I
mm.
realize I can revel and sit in the manifestations that I have right now and really feel into them. And then say more of this, more of this when I've really like encompassed it and embodied it. So that feels really profound.
Ooh, gave me such deep chills. Whoa, down my whole back. Oh, so good sitting with that manifestation and feeling into it versus just next, next, next. Never enough. That patriarchal hamster wheel, right? Just run faster, work harder, but not being satisfied and full. How full? You talked about cycles. We need to be full, we need to integrate and actually make it a part of who we are, those experiences. Yeah, I've accomplished that. I've co-created this. I've experienced this. This is now part of who I am. And then we become available for more. More, please. I'm available.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
and I love how it lines up too with some of the energetic practices that I use because I can actually feel
Mhm.
that my energetic being has shifted,
Mm.
like vibrationally has changed, and working with that is so beautiful too. With some of the work that's in the course as well is just like really working with some of those extra energy practices that are so vital for me as a healer. So that
Mm.
piece of this program has been really really helpful.
I'm so glad to hear it. Yeah, we bring together a lot of magic in the Thriving Circle, and we have magical beings like you who are bringing back, right, those reflections. And this is what I'm discovering on my journey. And I'm wondering, you have been carrying your gift so beautifully in the world, and now looking back at the shore. And of course, the journey continues, right? We keep going deeper every day. Um, from where we started this work together, from that threshold to where you are now, what has shifted in how you're carrying yourself, your gifts in the world? How are you receiving, how you're playing, how you experience yourself, how others experience you in any area of your life?
Oh, I love that question. I think it just feels honestly safer to be seen by more people. That was
Ooh.
I think that was really stopping me before we did that work together. I'd had something go viral and I was feeling really vulnerable about that, very exposed and very just worried about what was coming at me. So now I
Yeah.
feel brave to speak my truth and that I will be okay. I'll be okay in whatever I speak, wherever I share. So there's that. And the other thing is, I think, is like I always felt like I had to be everything for everyone. So I had to show up and be everything for everyone and overgive and overdo and do all the overs. And now I realize that I can step back and let my presence be enough. And also meet the energy of, I'm enough as I am, and I don't have to sort of push it so hard. And then I get to heal too in this that
Yeah.
I get to heal too. I don't have to just hold healing for everyone else. I'm a piece of that healing too.
Oh, that just struck me so deep. This work does attract women who are healers, as you know, and oftentimes there's that trap, that wounded healer trap, uh, we find ourselves in, realizing that we're healers and pouring all our time, energy, all our love, all our intention into healing others. And then we shortchange ourselves. We're like, okay, well, I'm okay. I'm okay. I have this gift. I got to be sharing. And I find that it's oftentimes the case that women who are healers tend to under receive their own healing. And I'm wondering if that resonates with you, if you found that too on your path.
Oh yes, I've realized just recently actually about, I live and dance with an autoimmune condition. I have lupus, and so my body's a very wise teacher. It tells me when I'm overdoing it and pushing it too hard. But I realized that I really haven't listened for a really really long time,
Mm.
until recently. I'd say just even the last couple of months, where I just got this certainty and this knowing that my vital force is essential to me. And I just think I never really put that as a priority. I just felt like, oh, my vital force can be a little bit given over there and there and there, and not really seen like, oh my goodness, my vital force is essential to me first and foremost. And then I can be, and as long as I'm filled up, then I can be that for others, but not until then. So it's a very strong boundary that I've been able to set.
Wow, that's so gorgeous. And yes, the body is such a teacher. And autoimmune conditions and lupus in particular, these are such powerful disruptive messengers. And as you're well aware, women are disproportionately affected by these conditions. So it kind of lets us know about something. Maybe there is more going on there that then meets the eye. And I'm wondering, as you are reclaiming your life force, as you being that first rightful recipient of your life force, that it is essential, it is vital, it is necessary. If you're also seeing and experiencing your body playing and messaging differently, dancing in any way differently with you.
Mm. What I'm noticing is that how much I probably need to nap, that I don't listen to those things. So I'm actually noticing more of just like it calling to me, like this is actually what you need, and I'm not gonna let you go past this time. So it's almost like the messages are a bit stronger, and I can't ignore them anymore. So that it's like a meeting. I guess it's like a self-compassion and a deep love, a sense of, okay, body, I'm listening now, and I will give you that rest that you need. And before I would fight it. So that's a
Beautiful.
huge shift.
So delighted to hear that. Ooh, I'm reminded of this line um, about the body being your friend. That invitation. It escapes me now whose line that is, whose poem that is, but that invitation that comes through a whisper. I whisper to my body, I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And she whispered softly back, I've been waiting so long for this. Something along those lines. It always gives me chills because I think that's so much of our collective shared story. Becoming friends, becoming really, really just beyond compassionate, just reclaiming the depths of that dance with our bodies is such a huge intergenerational reclamation, healing from patriarchy and colonialism and racism and all of those extremely destructive systems that have severed that relationship with the body, that came in and claimed our bodies and said, your body doesn't belong to you, it belongs to us. We get to decide, you know. what your body gets to experience and not, and how it is seen. We get to dictate that if it's okay, if it's not okay. This fills me so much emotion there. And the depth of that reclamation. Sometimes women perceive it, again, patriarchal conditioning, that it's selfish. It's selfish to rest. It's selfish to take a nap. It's selfish to set a boundary, because I need to be taking care of everyone. And yet it is such a deep reclamation for everyone, reclaiming that sovereignty, reclaiming that, yes, I dance with my body. This is my home. This is sacred. This relationship is sacred and it's primary to all other relationships in an embodied realm, right?
Mhm. I love that. I love how you put that because it just sort of rooted down something for me too as you reflected it back. Which is so beautiful about this program too is, we have these little gatherings with you get to know some people on a more intimate level and then you have that reflected back to you when you forget. You're like it's like little reminders, like this brings you back. And that's something that I love about this too is I've developed some really close friendships and relationships that I feel will be lifelong. Like truly, I mean that. I feel like
Mm.
they're like soul sisters of mine, and they'll be lifelong.
Oh, I so feel that, and I feel that deep knowing of that, and it's such a delight seeing these relationships form in such a short period of time. Really, the intimacy that develops, that trust with women from all over the world, different, different, different stories, different circumstances, and yet so much of that deeply shared journey that we can see each other in. It's
Mhm.
astonishing. Yeah, and walk each other home. Asha, it is such a deep joy and privilege and delight to be walking this path with you.
Mhm.
So grateful that we get to change the world together by reclaiming and healing our wholeness.
Yes. Thank you. It's been such a gift for me, like truly life changing.
Mm. And I know the journey continues, and I look forward to new discoveries. And thank you for the beautiful work in the world that you have brought, and you're carrying with such grace. And we're so honored to support you with even more safety capacity, what you require also to be held and healed on this journey as a healer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
this.